Hey everybody, this is a Sweet Stuff Saturday, actually recorded on a Saturday. It is May 31st, and I have 3 items on the bench. All of them are a little different than what I normally have. So let's talk about each one of them. The first one that I want to talk about is I want to talk about this knife. This is the Knafs Lil Lulu, and it is a very small, as you can see, pocketable fixed blade. It sports magnet cut steel. It has green micarta handles. There is a Kickstarter for this knife, and the Kickstarter will finish, I think, at the end of June, but you should go check. This obviously is a follow-up to the Lulu, which is their high-end fixed blade, and this knife is remarkably good. And I really, really like the layout of the knife, the handle, the sheath. When I get my own, this is a production prototype. When I get my own, I'm going to remove this and put an ulti-clip on it because I just love the idea of carrying this around in my pocket. A couple things I want to point out. Number one, it is really hand-filling. Despite being a very small sub 2-inch blade, you can get pretty much full 4-finger grip when you choke up using the choil. It is really, really good at like high pressure tasks. I've been using it around the workshop and it has done good as like a marking knife or a scoring knife before making big cuts. The blade is super precise, and because you get such a good choke up, you can go like right up to the edge, very precise, even with a lot of power. So if you are looking for a small EDC fixed blade, I would be shocked if this didn't make you happy. A couple weird things. The knife, when you like look at it this way, the plunge line sticks out from the furthest point of the grind. So like typically a plunge line would go down here. But by doing this way, they give you a little bit more of a grip. It's a little bit of a shielded or protected choil. But the reality is you're going to use the knife most times like this. And so having this plunge line be here, it just looks different, but I don't think it will actually impact performance. My guess is most of the time the knife is going to approach cutting material to cut in an angle like this, not like this. Obviously you couldn't do like a ton of like dicing cuts, though you could kind of, choke up and get it to work. Really, really good knife. Very, very surprised at how well this knife fills the hand, but then doesn't fill the pocket. I understand why they have it this way. This is probably perfectly fine if you want to do a belt loop attachment, but a knife this size, I would love to see with an ulti clip. And if I could, when I get it, I will probably remake the sheath so that it's a taco style sheath. That way it would just be like this big instead of this big in the pocket. And if it's this big, you might still be able to drop something in that pocket. If it's this wide, this is probably going to take up your whole pocket. But if you want a belt loop sheath, that's perfectly fine. Second thing, this is the Nextool Mini Sailor, and it is a TSA compliant multi-tool. I'm going back to Ohio to visit my grandmother for her 93rd birthday, and I wanted to try out something. Unfortunately, Leatherman's TSA compliant multi-tool has been discontinued, and so in order to make it back to Ohio as something that I could use, I didn't want to use that guy because, geez, I'd feel terrible if it got taken. I don't think it would, but this was $22 on Amazon, and if it gets taken, I don't really give a shit. But I will tell you, this is my first Nextool multi-tool, and other than having some really tight pivots, this one is just like, there we go. These are really tight pivots, but whatever, they'll break in. It's a great multi-tool. It is a really great little multi-tool. It's like in between the Juice and the Squirt in terms of its size, and I actually quite like the size. It's got spring-mounted plier head, which is always good. The needle nose pliers, they come to a relatively fine point, finer point than like something like the Skeletool. And it has no knife blade. That's the way that they were able to make it TSA compliant. But it does come with a pretty good Wait a second, hold on. There we go. A pretty good pair of scissors. They're tiny, and they use the stick spring, but they're actually not that bad at all. Close those up, and goes back in here. And then on this side, it has the can opener and 2D Phillips. And you can see it's chipping my fingernail because, boy, these pivots are tight. And then on this side, it has the flathead. And then right there, let me see if I can get it out again. Right there, it has a SIM card ejector, which is a really cool tool that I have not seen on very many multi-tools. The other thing is the SIM card ejector can be used to like just puncture holes and stuff. It's pretty durable. I wouldn't like use it like an awl, but if you had to, you could probably poke some holes and stuff. Overall, the build quality is quite nice, and they left out the knife blade, which would typically, I believe, go on this side. And instead, they put this little clear or translucent spacer, and this spacer actually glows in the dark. So pretty good use of a blank spot. The last thing I want to talk about is this knife. This knife is the Pepperwool Mareno. And Pepperwool is a new knife brand. They have two knives. This is the smaller of the two. The other one is a classic drop point. I think they both sport some variant of a sliding bar lock. This one, as you can see, is a flipper sliding bar lock. The tuning on the flipper is actually pretty good because the blade has almost no weight at all, and it comes out. The color scheme here is outrageous. I love it. This like darkish blue with the white and the green, and the blue has like a certain satin to it, and everything else is matte finish. Really good. I love, love, love the aesthetics. The blade steel on this knife is S35VN. It's obviously a coated S35VN. And it reminds me a lot of the SOG pocket clip sliding bar lock knife. I forget what it's called. Not the pocket clip, the money clip sliding bar lock. It's the SOG XR something, but it's a very similar design. And there's good reason. This knife was designed by a former SOG knife designer. Over the top deep carry pocket clip that can be switched around. Really clever pocket clip design. I love the fact that it's like mounted on this, what is going to end up being, I'm sure, a structural pillar. And so you loosen the screw, you can flip this around, put it back down, and it works very, very well. Overall, it's a beautiful knife. I love, love, love the aesthetics. I'm not a super fan of Tanto blades, but on something this small, you're not going to see like a ton of wear. I doubt that you'd ever wear the secondary point down. They do make sharpening a knife a little more difficult, but not the biggest deal in the world. I think this knife is a really beautiful knife. I've carried it a couple days. It turned out to be quite nice and very, very small. A lot of people are like, oh, I love Tantos. They have a secondary blade. You can those like zip open boxes. Totally true. But if you have a properly designed belly, you can do the same thing. For me, this is just unnecessary complexity and sharpening and maintenance. And it is not worth the aesthetic bonus that I think a lot of people attribute to Tantos. Really good looking knife though. Man, this thing is beautiful and it weighs almost nothing. This is a sub 3-inch blade. In fact, I think this is sub 2.5 inches. Really nice knife, super thin in the pocket, super thin blade stock, all hitting the right buttons. So take a look at the Pepperwool stuff if you want to see something you probably have never seen before in a color scheme you would not have imagined would ever work. That's all the stuff I have on the bench for now. This week was a little crazy at work, so I didn't do a lot of hunting for gear, but those are the three things that I got in this week. I had to send back the little Lulu, which I'm a little sad about because that's such a cool little knife. The other stuff I'm going to test out and see what happens. I want to know if this will make it through TSA. I don't know. We'll find out. Bye.